I'm backing up my truck, I'm gonna hook it up, loading up my boat with all my gear. I've been working hard all week, trying to make ends meet, spending time wishing I was fishing. Well, Terry Wickstrom wants to take you fishing. Gather up your gear and come along. Well, Terry Wickstrom wants to take you fishing.
This is Terry Wickstrom. Join Karen Cullum, Greg Clajo, and me as we take you to some of our favorite fishing spots from Colorado to Minnesota, the Arctic Circle to Central America and beyond, as we revisit episodes of Mountain States Fishing and Angling Adventures Television on the best of fishing with Terry Wickstrom.
Hey, I'm with Janice O'Shea today. Hey, really great to be with you again.
Great, thank you, Terry.
You know, Janice has helped us out in other episodes of Mountain States Fishing Adventures. We filmed a women's fly fishing clinic you did up in Salida, and you actually took one of my producers out in the water and gave her some on-the-water lessons in fly fishing. And I know you're really involved in women's fly fishing, which is a really fast-growing aspect of fly fishing and something we want to promote. But today it's going to be you and me. We're going to go out. We want to talk about the value of using a guide instructor. And today we're going to fish some private water and try to teach you some techniques you can use almost anywhere in Colorado.
Terry, this is where we're going to start this morning. You can see the riffles coming down across the bend here, and it runs into a nice little pool. And then you see more riffles and emptying into a bigger pool in this section here. So I thought we'd go above this little pool area and seine the water for insects, and then we'll come down into this pool and fish this pool right off the bat this morning.
And the reason to go up the river first is that's what would be washing down, and we won't
Exactly.
we can find out what's there without spooking the fish in the pool.
Exactly. And when we walk around this pool, we'll walk around pretty far away from the bank of the pool so that we don't spook any fish that are up, maybe sunning themselves off from the up close to the bank.
Well, let's go see what the insects are, and then I'm counting on your expertise to tell me what to use.
Okay.
Let's go.
And what I'm going to do is position myself in fairly fast-moving water so that I can get the bugs down into the seine, and I'll have you stand about 3 or 4 feet in front of me, ahead of me, upstream, and just kick some of the rocks up a little bit so that that substrate comes down into my seine.
Okay.
Okay?
Whatever you do, I'm at your disposal, ma'am.
Okay. We're going to come down in here, and if you'll have to just wait. I'm going to put myself right here. And I want you up about 3 feet up here, and I want you to just kick some of the rocks up here. And this is a way to unloosen some of these organisms in this river and get an idea of what the trout are feeding on. Another way is to just pick a rock up on the side of the water and look underneath the rock. But this is a great way to see what the trout are feeding on. And we'll do this for about a minute or two, and we'll just let this, the insects and substrate organisms float down into this white seine. Okay, now we're going to take what we've got and come off to the side here and take a look at the insects. Okay. Put this down, and what I'm going to do is take a look here, and I usually pull out a little plate.
That's the
white plate.
So the bugs show up against the background.
Exactly.
Right?
And I'm going to go through the seine and pick out little insects. They're in the seine. And I already see quite a few of them, stoneflies. And they're pretty good sized stoneflies.
Oh, yeah.
Look at this. And about this time of year, and this is fast moving water, so I have a pretty good idea. I know stoneflies live in fast moving water, as do the caddisflies. So look at these stoneflies I'm pulling out. And I also see...
And they're different colors. One's quite a bit darker than the other.
Yes, there are, and different sizes. And then here's a caddis larva. So you're seeing a conglomeration of a lot of different, a smorgasbord of insects. This is a caddis larva pattern. And you can tell this is caddis larva because of the black head. This is a beige or cream colored caddis larva. It's a free-living caddis larva. And what I'm going to do is in this seine is look at and pick out the most predominant insect of what I see in this seine, and then I'm going to go to my fly box and match the size, shape, color, and behavior of this insect to my with my imitation and fish with that. And here's a stonefly imitation right here.
Oh, look at that.
And then I can tell pretty much the size and the shape and the color of these stoneflies. And I'll do the same thing with the caddis larva pattern. I'll let it crawl around in my box. And These are pretty good sized caddis larvae too. So there are caddis larvae inside these little cases.
Right.
So we'll just let them crawl around the box and then we'll match the size, shape, and color.
Okay, now
I'm going to take a stonefly. It's a yellow stonefly, and this is a pretty good sized stone. And I'm going to stick it in my fly box and let it crawl around a little bit so I can match the size, shape, and color of this stonefly. And you can see these imitations that I have on the end of this box are a pretty good match for this stonefly.
yeah, they are.
When I'm fishing my indicator on the surface of the water, I'm watching it. If the indicator is moving the same speed as the surface water, I know my fly is not getting down to the trout on the bottom. There's 4 levels of river water. There's fast water on top of the surface, there's your film or meniscus, and there's your, and I've got one.
Got a trout. Way to go, right away.
And that was on the downstream side. I'll talk about that surface water.
They're all good.
It's a good one. They're all good. And if you notice when I'm playing this trout, I'm going to keep my rod about 45 degrees, not at 90. If I point my rod at 90 degrees, I don't put any pressure on this trout. If I have it at 45 degrees or parallel to the water and upstream, now I've got pressure on the trout, and put a bend in that fly rod. That's what they're there for. And I want to play this trout off of my reel. And if it makes a run, I'm going to let it take line off of my reel. But I'm always going to keep a tight line between my my rod tip and the trout, and I don't want it to rest. And I'm pointing it, as you can see, upstream.
Oh, it's a nice looking fish.
It is a nice looking fish, and I'll be able to tell you what if it's it took the bottom fly. It took the okay.
Want me to hold your rod?
Yeah. It took the midge-emerger, and this is a nice brown. Ooh, lovely. And oh, that's a nice one. I can show you too. This is actually a, if I can show you if this is a male or female, this is actually a wild trout because of the adipose fin. There's some red, and then this is a male because the dorsal fin, or the I forgot the name of that fin. Anyway, this fin, pectoral fin, is concave. So this is a nice male, and I'll just let it go. But I was talking about drifts, and we have a lot of pocket water, a lot of fabulous pocket water out here that I think very few people fish. And it's where we have huge boulders in these rivers. And yep, there it is. Yeah. And that was a little bit, my set was a little bit too late, but I'll see if I can't bring this thing in. I want to get all this line off into my reel. Now I'm going to play the trout off of my reel. And look where my rod is. It's almost, well, not quite 45 degrees, but it is parallel, and that's where I get most of my benefit, I think, from this rod, is when it's almost parallel to the water. There's a good bend in it. This guy does not want to come in.
Looks, it's fighting like a good fish.
Yeah, now if it's a rainbow, it'll tend to leap out of the water. Some browns do, but mostly rainbows. And if it leaps, I'm going to give it line. I mean, I'm going to just bow my rod to it because that's a lot of pressure on the trout. And I'm going to move down here and now point my rod this direction. And if it's a big trout, I like to be in line or even with it. I'm disturbing this water a little bit. And I want to be ideally upstream or downstream of this trout. Now he's going downstream of me, but I don't want that. And I'm going to go downstream a little bit more.
Boy, he's really giving you a fight. Did you get to see how big it was?
I didn't. I think it's probably about 14-inch rainbow.
Really giving you a nice fight.
And I always like to be downstream of these, I call them people. I'm going to keep pressure on it as much as I can here. Oh, that's a nice one. Yeah, that's a nice trout.
Oh.
I'm going to try to keep the head up
Oh,
here.
nice fish, nice fish. All right, way to go.
Again, he took that midge-emerger.
That's a beautiful fish.
And I'm going to actually, I'm going to hold him upside down, if I can. I don't like to touch him too much.
He sure gave you a good fight.
He gave me a real good fight.
That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And I'm going to take this out of his mouth. Looks like it's out. And then I'm going to just gently put him back into the water. That's a beautiful trout. That's a nice trout. Boy, he gave me a great fight. And I'm going to hold him. There, he's ready. Yeah. I'm going to try to bring this one in. This feels like a pretty good one. And I'm going to make sure it stays upstream of me. They're going after those midge pupas, I think, like crazy. Well, this is a brown, I think. And I have to tell you the personalities of a brown. When a brown takes your fly, it will literally look for a sheltering lie, and it'll go to that sheltering lie in the water, and it knows where these are, and wrap its line around a rock or a piece of moss. They're notorious for that. Rainbows, nah, they won't so much do that, but browns, they're mean. They'll do that. This is a pretty, oh boy. This is a pretty good bite for a 4-weight rod. Boy, there's sometimes where I wish I had my 5. And I'm going to fight this. I'm going to make it, I don't want this trout to rest. I want to make sure it's always, in that current, fighting that current.
Well, I'm gonna have to come out and help you. You got that big fish on.
Well, I'll tell you. I'm gonna try and see if I can't bring it in here.
You need me to net it, or?
That's a big one. There it is, right there, Terry. Oh my!
Oh, nice fish.
Oh my! Wow.
Here, give me the rod.
Absolutely, absolutely beautiful. We want to keep that thing in here. I'm going to take the hook out of its mouth here. Boy, it just, it went after the stonefly. And a lot of times, if they swallow your fly, it's best to just go ahead and cut the line, which I'm going to do. And that fly will actually work its way out, rather than to stay here and continually try to... But this is a beautiful brown. And this is a wild brown because on the adipose fin you can see some of the red, and down here on the lower fin I can tell that this is a male. This is a beautiful, beautiful brown.
Oh, what a nice fish.
And now I'm going to revive it is to work it in slow moving water. My hands are away from the gills and it will tell me when it's ready to go. I'm going to hold it by the tail and work it back and forth, and with the tail upstream, and there it goes.
Great fish.
That was wonderful.
Good job.
Thank you. That's great. That's a great drift. And lower it. Great. Now you've got a little drag there. Okay. Yep, there we go, on the downstream side.
Not a real big one, but
that's okay.
They're all good.
They're all good. You want me to help you land that, or can you get it?
We'll see if I can get it up close. I think I can get it. But then I've been wrong before on these.
It looks like a bow, but I can't tell from here. It's a jumper. It looks like a brown.
No, I think it's a little rainbow.
Is it?
I tell you that on a fly rod, you know.
Yeah, keep that head up. There you go. Excellent.
There we go.
Excellent.
Fighting fish on a fly rod is so much fun.
Yes, it is.
I'll let you hold the rod. And nice rainbow.
Very nice.
Not a huge fish, just a very pretty nice fish. And let's see where he's hooked.
Get that midge.
Well, the midge is in the net, so I don't know.
Oh, okay.
He's
came right. Sometimes they'll.
Yeah, it came right off already. He's not hooked anymore.
Yep.
So
Boy, they're feisty, aren't they?
Oh, and there he goes.
Whoops, there he goes.
There he goes.
Very nice.
It was beautiful. It was about 10 pounds. It was about a 10, 12-inch rainbow. A nice fish, fought
Very
well
nice.
on a fly rod.
Very nice.
I was trying to be careful. The hooks were out and in the net, and I didn't want to get hooked or hurt the fish. So,
very nice fish.
A lot of fun. We'll see if I can get another one.
Yes,
Thank you.
by all means. Very good.
Thank you for the help, and
You're
we'll see if
welcome.
we can get one more in there.
Sure. Good. That's great. Right in that seam. That's wonderful. When you were dragging it, it looked like an emerger coming up towards the surface. Very good. And point your rod about 45 degrees upstream.
This feels like a little better fish.
Yeah, it looked like a better hit. Woo!
Oh, yes!
You need to lower that rod tip when that trout comes up out of that water. Lower that rod tip. That creates too much tension if you don't give that trout some slack when it comes up. There you go. Woo! That's a nice, nice trout. Very nice. Oh, lovely trout.
Oh, it's a beautiful fish.
Beautiful, beautiful trout. I'm going to make sure my net's wet before I land it in the net. Again, that trout jumped. I suspect it's a rainbow. And if it jumps again, you'll want to dip your rod and put some slack in that line so you don't pop that tippet or leader. Boy, that's a nice fish. I can see it moving around in the water.
It looked like a brown when it jumped, but it was hard
Did
to
it?
tell.
Sometimes browns will jump, but more often rainbows actually leap.
Yeah, I know. The rainbows are more known for it. But
exactly.
I thought I saw the yellow color.
I do see a little bit of yellow too, so I suspect it may be a brown, which is a little unusual for a brown to jump, but that's...
Well, it's a strong fish.
It could be a brown.
It's a strong fish.
Yeah, that's a beautiful trout. This is a nice one. And sometimes you may even have to come downstream or even with this trout. Oh my, this is a nice big trout. Let's see if we can't keep that line taut.
Oh, please stay on. Oh, what a beautiful fish.
Well, that is a nice brown. It's unusual for that brown to jump out of the water, but it sure did.
Oh, come on. Oh, you're so afraid the knot is going to weaken during a long fight like this, too.
Well, and those knots are surprisingly tight, and also the leader gives a little bit. The leader will give about an inch or two. It has that much give to it.
Oh, so this is a nice fish.
And you've got yeah, it is a nice fish. Woo!
Oh, what a nice fish.
Oh, boy, I don't know if you can get it into my net or not. Can you get that? Oh my! I still can't tell if it's a brown or rainbow. I think it's a... Woo!
Oh, yes!
This is a beautiful brown.
What a fish. Let's bring it over close so the people can see it.
Well, Terry, you did a great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll take your line.
We'll see if it's hooked. Right in the lip here,
yeah.
So
it took the black midge emerger.
The fly is out already. I'll let him in the net while I unhook these flies from the net so we don't get them tangled in there.
Oh, that's, yeah.
What a beautiful fish.
Absolutely.
What a beautiful fish. This is what you come for. This is
beautiful. This is a Colorado wild brown trout.
Oh.
Boy, and it's feisty, isn't it?
Oh, it is. I don't want to squeeze it. I just want to get it up where people can see it.
Whoa.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
That is a beautiful brown.
Colorado brown trout. Let's get that one back in the water.
Beautiful, beautiful brown trout.
He's ready to go already.
He's ready. He's feisty. There you go. He goes. Yeah.
No, he's ready to go. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome, Terry.
Thank
you very much. That was wonderful.
You know, you've got to get out and experience fly fishing, whether it's public or private waters. And if you want to accelerate your experience so that you get better at it, and if you're not as an expert at it like I know certainly I'm not, and I just had a wonderful day, get a hold of Janice or somebody like her. Get out, experience fly fishing, and join us next week.